3 years. Y'all win. So that just goes to show, in a room full of about 18 to 20 women, 3 of you said yes to the business opportunity. And so layering is a really important aspect that sometimes gets overlooked or honestly just forgotten, right? Kind of out of sight, out of mind. And so this should say focus card. It should not say ocus card, in case you were wondering. The F should be there. But my printer margins are off, and so I apologize for that. But this is just a layering sheet, you guys. Honest to goodness, I did not create this. So my director says the best form is the form that you create. I think there's an element of truth to that, but I think the best form is the form that doesn't take you time to create it. You can borrow someone else's genius. Amen. Okay, so if you're great at creating, then create and share with those of us who are not. So here's a date, name, phone number, and then information about the appointment that you had with her. So this is kind of a hostess checklist plus a layering sheet, in case you didn't notice that. So it gives you information about her party, that you sent the thank you note, how many bookings total, what her goal was in her gift, how many totals, and then the recruiting layers are at the end. For me personally, the note section is not nearly big enough, so I keep my information like this on little note cards, and I do a 21-day system for that as well. So for my layering prospects, so I don't forget them, because I will. I do 2 things. Use the 21-day system with the note card. So if I tell her, like my director told me, now director, senior director, told me, can I follow up with you in 6 months? The reality is if that were left up to my memory, I might call her 3 years from now and go, hey, remember me? But not 6 months consistently the way my senior did. And so the easiest way for me to do that is use the 21-day system. And so if I say, can I call you in 6 months? It's July, I count out to December, January, her card goes in there, and then I'm being a woman of my word, and I'm following up with her in 6 months. Okay, so the recruiting layers are there, different opportunities that you'll have to expose her to the Mary Kay opportunity. Mary Kay information could be a video, it could be sending her some brochures or packets. A meeting would be inviting her to a Unite event, bringing her to something other than a party or where she is a hostess at a party, having a one-on-one interview with her and your director, and then it gives you an opportunity there to put her interest level. So typically I do ABC at the appointment, just so I know her upfront level of interest. And you guys know that how many of you were C's prior to starting your business? Like, no way, I'd rather eat dirt, live on a bridge, and die. Okay, not a ton of you, but a few of you. How many of you were B's? Like, you were kind of on the fence, yes, maybe, maybe not. Okay, a few of you. And then probably the rest of you were just kind of like, this is a really good opportunity. I was a C. I would say probably 30 to 50% of my unit started out as C's. And so just know that just because she's a C doesn't mean she doesn't want to do this business or wouldn't be great at it. C usually is just fear. Like, or just I don't know enough to even make a solid decision. And then follow-up, you can put a date there, you can put a check mark, like 6 months out, and then it gives you an opportunity to check her off when you have recruited her. I use a highlighting system when I have recruited. She gets a pink highlight when I've recruited her. So I'm going to give you just a couple statistics. First of all, one of the things that I do, especially if I'm booking someone for a share who was a C at an appointment, when I sit down with her, I go, look, I'm finishing up a huge goal. For a consultant, you could say, I'm wrapping up my new consultant training, or I'm right in the middle of my leadership training. I've committed to move into leadership with Mary Kay. Leadership could be your red jacket. Leadership could be starting to build your team. Leadership could be going on target for your car. Leadership could be DIQ and beyond. It doesn't really matter, but hey, I'm right in the middle of my leadership training. Can I buy you coffee and borrow you? I just need to practice answering questions, so bring your hardest ones. And then I always say, statistically, according to American statistics, 1 in 5 women will say yes to this opportunity. So that means I need 4 women who will say no. Will you come and share a cup of coffee with me and be one of my no's? So what I've done there is I've taken pressure off of her. I basically tell her this probably isn't for you, and that's okay. So what that does is it disarms her. She doesn't feel like she has to kind of have her guard up, like, girl, no, I'm not selling Mary Kay, I'm not going to sell Mary Kay. It takes the pressure off her, and it lets her know that you are already expecting her to say no up front. It gives her permission to say no. Like, you already told her that you're expecting her to say no, so when she says no, or she says it's not for me, she doesn't feel any kind of pressure because you already knew that she was going to say that. So using this tracking sheet, you've heard it today probably multiple times, using this tracking sheet, attract number grows. And so using this tracking sheet will keep you on target with your team building and your layering. The other thing that I would say about team building is to learn and know the most common objections to saying yes or no to the Mary Kay business. When I was new in the business, I actually made flashcards. So the front would give the objection and the back would give my response, or helping her to overcome that objection. Even if you don't have the verbiage memorized, knowing how to overcome that objection, because if you're a consultant in my unit and you bring me a girl, I can probably overcome 1 or 2 for her, but because I don't have a relationship with her, it's very easy for me to cross over the line of overcoming objection to now being pushy. But if she has had a consultant that she's had for 3, 4, 5, 6 plus years, you guys have a committed relationship, and so in conversation, objections will come up that you can overcome because you know how to overcome those just in normal everyday conversation. And because you have a relationship with her, you can say things to her that it would be harder for me to say. Does that make sense? So as a consultant, even if you're not doing your shares and you're not the one like sitting and having an interview with her, knowing what the common objections are and how to overcome them can really help you and propel you into building your team. That's all I have.